Can a journey change our destination? When Yorick set out to find his family's killers, he found himself becoming a completely different person. This emotional journey led him to discover not only his family's murderers, but also his own true identity. In the village of Ungava, 16-year-old Jorik woke up with the same nightmare every night. 3 years ago, when he was only 13, his family had been murdered while he played near the house. His mother Kira, father Moss, and little sister Nellie. They were all killed before his eyes. The killers were foreign hunters who came during the war in the village. Jorik happened to be on the other side of the village that day, the only surviving family member. When he returned, everything was over. His family was gone, his home burned down. Now he lived in village leader Bram's house, but he never felt real family warmth. Bram's wife Dina took care of him and fed him, but she was cold. Their children, Eric and Maya, treated him like a stranger. "Yorick, you need to forget the past," Bram would constantly say. "You're part of our family now." But Yorick couldn't forget. Every night he remembered the killers' faces and made plans to find them and get revenge. He had been gathering information for 3 years. The killers' names, Gunther and Ragnar, which village they came from, Siku village in the northern regions, and how they could be recognized. "I will find them someday," he would tell himself, "and I'll make them pay for what they did to my family." Very few people in the village knew about Jorik's plans. Only his closest friend, 17-year-old Zane, knew. "Jorik, this is too dangerous," Zane would say. "You're still a kid. They're experienced warriors." "I don't care," Jorik would reply. "This is what I have to do for my family." Jorik was physically strong for his age. He had been training himself for 3 years, learning hunting techniques and developing survival skills. His goal was clear. When he turned 18, he would leave the village to search for the killers. But he couldn't wait anymore. According to the latest information, Gunther and Ragnar were still alive and living in Siku village. Jorik decided to take action without waiting any longer. That night, while everyone was sleeping, he packed his backpack, food, water, hunting supplies, and the knife left by his father. These were enough for his revenge journey. By morning, Jorik was no longer in the village. When Jorik left Ungava village, the sun hadn't risen yet. Siku village was about 200 kilometers north, and this journey would take at least 2 weeks. The young man set off alone, driven only by thoughts of revenge. The first day went relatively well. He was traveling through familiar territory, knowing the water sources and shelter locations. But from the second day onward, unknown territory began. The Arctic weather conditions were brutal. The wind was sharp, the cold cut to the bone, and the snow deepened with every step. Jorik was used to these conditions, but being alone was very different. On the evening of the 3rd day, he faced his first challenge. While trying to set up shelter, he heard wolf sounds in the distance. Jorik made a fire and tried to protect himself, but stayed awake all night. Maybe Zane was right, he thought for a moment. Maybe this is too early. But when his family's faces appeared in his mind, he became determined again. "No, I have to do this." On the 4th day, an unexpected event occurred. When a snowstorm started, he lost his way. He had no GPS, and his compass wasn't working properly because of the snow. He began to panic. Just then, he saw smoke in the distance. Someone had clearly made a fire. Jorik decided to head in that direction, even though it was risky. As he approached the smoke, he saw a small temporary camp. A middle-aged Inuit man sat there alone. The man was surprised when he saw Jorik. "Hey, why are you here alone?" the man asked. Jorik hesitated. Should he tell the truth? I'm on a journey." "A journey in this weather? Are you crazy?" The man stood up. "I'm Kai, and you're going to freeze to death in the open. Come, sit by the fire." Jorik was suspicious, but he was freezing from the cold. He sat next to Kai. I'm going to Siku village, he finally said. Kai's expression changed. Siku? That's very far and dangerous. Why are you going there? Jorik hesitated again, but he saw genuine concern in Kai's eyes. No one had looked at him that way for a long time. I'm looking for the people who killed my family, he said eventually. This confession was the beginning of a conversation that would change both their lives. Kai remained silent for a long time after hearing Jorik's words. He stared at the fire, seeming lost in deep thoughts. How old are you? He finally asked. 16, Jorik said. 16, Kai repeated. I lost my family when I was your age too, but in a different way. Jorik looked at him curiously. How? Disease. An epidemic. The whole village was gone. Only I survived. There was deep sadness in Kai's voice. It was 25 years ago. Didn't you get revenge? Kai laughed bitterly. How do you get revenge on a disease? How do you get revenge on nature? This perspective was something Jorik had never considered. But your situation is different, Kai continued. You're looking for real killers. So what will you do when you find them? I'll kill them, Jorik said without hesitation. Then what? Then what? What will you do after you kill them? Will you go home? Will you return to a normal life? Jorik had never asked himself this question. Getting revenge was his only goal. What came after was unclear. I don't know, he said honestly. Jorik, Kai said, looking into the young man's eyes. Let me tell you something. I've been traveling the Northern Territories for 25 years. I've met many people, heard many stories, and I've learned this. Revenge doesn't bring you peace. It only brings more pain. You don't understand, Jorik jumped up. They killed my family. I understand, Kai said calmly. Trust me, I understand. But you're young. Life has more to teach you. Jorik was angry and confused. Kai's words were shaking his certainty. I've decided to go to Siku, he said stubbornly. Okay, Kai said, but at least prepare properly. Traveling alone in this weather is suicide. Kai began teaching Jorik survival techniques, how to build proper shelter, read weather signs, find emergency food. These skills could save Jorik's life. They stayed together for 3 days. During this time, Jorik began to be impressed by Kai's wisdom and kindness. No one had given him this much attention or shown him this much care for a long time. Why are you helping me? Jorik asked. Because you remind me of myself 25 years ago, Kai said. Angry, lost, looking for something to blame. No one gave me guidance back then. You're luckier. On the morning of the 4th day, it was time to part ways. Last chance, Kai said. Come with me. I can show you different places, teach you different perspectives. Jorik hesitated, but his desire for revenge was still stronger. No, I have to go my own way. Kai nodded sadly but with understanding. Okay, but remember, real strength isn't in revenge, it's in forgiveness. When Jorik left Kai, his mind was confused. For the first time, he was beginning to doubt his revenge plan. After leaving Kai, Jorik traveled alone for another week. Thanks to what Kai had taught him, survival became much easier. But Kai's words echoed in his mind. One evening, he reached a small settlement. 3 families lived here. Elderly couple Echo and Nora, middle-aged couple Finn and Sarah, and single mother Luna with her 8-year-old daughter Ivy. The people in the settlement were initially suspicious, but when they saw that Jorik was young and alone, they showed sympathy. Where are you going in these conditions? Luna asked. This time Jorik decided not to tell the complete truth. I'm going north. Family business. The north is very dangerous, Finn said, especially alone. Stay here for a few days, Sarah suggested, until the weather gets better. Jorik accepted. These people's kindness made him feel good. During the 3 days he stayed in the settlement, Jorik observed how this small community functioned. Everyone helped each other. Echo caught fish, Nora did the cooking, Finn went hunting, Sarah gave education to the children, Luna repaired everyone's clothes. "This is how family works," Luna said one evening. "Blood relation isn't necessary, caring is enough." 8-year-old Ivy had become attached to Jorik. She told him stories and played games with him. "Will you be my big brother?" Ivy asked innocently. Jorik's heart was touched. This little girl reminded him of his own sister Nellie. "I'm only here temporarily," he said sadly. "Why? You could belong here." These words sent Jorik into deep thought. Indeed, he felt a sense of belonging here. For the first time in 3 years, he felt like family. But on the 3rd night, a terrible storm began. The settlement's food supplies were low, and Finn couldn't go hunting. "Don't worry," Jorik said. "I can bring food." "No," Luna said. "It's too dangerous in this weather." "I am experienced," Jorik said confidently. "Trust me." Early the next morning, despite the storm, Jorik went hunting. Using the techniques Kai had taught him, he successfully caught 2 rabbits. When he returned to the settlement, everyone was amazed and grateful. "You're a hero," Ivy said, hugging Jorik. "You saved our family," Luna said with tears in her eyes. At this moment, Jorik realized these people had accepted him like real family, and he was beginning to love them like family too. But when it was time to leave, Jorik still felt obligated to continue his revenge mission. When leaving the settlement, Jorik's heart ached. Especially little Ivy's tears affected him deeply. "Please stay," Ivy said. "You're my real brother." Luna spoke to Jorik privately. "You belong here." "Why leave? What will you find in the north that you don't have here?" Jorik couldn't answer. For the first time, he was seriously questioning his mission. I made a promise," he said eventually. "To whom did you make this promise?" "To myself, to my family." Luna looked at him with understanding. "Jorik, sometimes promises need to be changed, especially when a better path is available." But Jorik still left, though reluctantly. During the next week, he passed through 2 more communities. In each one, he experienced similar kindness and acceptance. People invited him into their families, offered help, gave him a sense of belonging. These experiences gradually changed Jorik's perspective. Maybe family isn't only defined by blood, he began to think. Finally, when he reached near Siku village, he was a completely different person. The Jorik who left Ungava full of anger and revenge was now confused and conflicted. Standing at the entrance of Siku village, his heart was pounding. Somewhere here, Gunther and Ragnar existed. The moment he had planned for 3 years was finally here. When he entered the village, he began asking local people questions. "Do you know Gunther and Ragnar?" he asked a middle-aged woman. The woman's expression immediately changed. "Why are you looking for them?" "Personal matter," Jorik said evasively. They're complicated people," the woman said carefully. "They have dangerous reputations." "Where can I find them?" The woman reluctantly pointed to the north side of the village. When Jorik realized he was finally close to his targets, he experienced a strange feeling. Instead of the expected excitement, he felt dread and uncertainty. "Is this really what I want?" he asked himself. That evening, he stayed at the village inn and made plans. Tomorrow morning, he would find Gunther and Ragnar, and what exactly would he do? This question kept him awake all night. The next morning, Jorik walked toward the house where Gunther and Ragnar lived. His heart was pounding, his hands were sweating. The moment he had waited 3 years for had come. As he approached the house, he saw 2 middle-aged men outside. These were his family's killers. Their faces were exactly as he remembered. Gunther was tall and muscular with a scar on his left cheek. Ragnar was shorter but broader with a distinctive red beard. Both were having a casual conversation, unaware of the approaching danger. Yorick hid behind a tree and observed them. Instead of the monsters he expected, he saw normal people. Gunther was playing with his daughter. Ragnar was helping his wife. They have families, too, he suddenly realized. This observation flooded him with unexpected emotions, confusion, anger, and, surprisingly, empathy. Looking closer, he noticed that Gunther's little daughter was about the same age his sister Nellie had been when she died. If I kill Gunther, this little girl will become an orphan, he thought, just like me. This thought paralyzed him. Revenge suddenly didn't seem so simple. He waited for long minutes, unable to make a decision. Finally, when Gunther was alone, Yorick decided to approach. "Gunther," he called out. Gunther turned around, trying to recognize Jorik. "Who are you?" "I'm Jorik, from Ungava village." Gunther's expression immediately changed. Recognition and guilt flashed in his eyes. "Ah," he said quietly. You're Moss's son." "Yes," Jorik said, his voice trembling. "And you killed my family." Gunther looked down. "Yes, I did." This direct admission surprised Jorik. He expected denial or aggression, but he saw guilt and remorse. "Why?" Jorik asked. "It was wartime," Gunther said sadly. We were following orders, but that day everything went wrong. Innocent people died, children died. I regret it every day." Jorik grabbed the handle of his knife. This was the moment he had waited 3 years for, but he couldn't act. Gunther's genuine remorse, his daughter's laughter in the background, and the lessons he had learned in recent weeks about family and forgiveness. "I came here to kill you," Jorik said honestly. "I know," Gunther said, "and I deserve it. But—" Jorik's voice broke. "But you're a father, too. You have a family, too." Gunther looked up, tears in his eyes. "Jorik, I'm so sorry. If I could change that day." This was the moment that changed everything. Jorik and Gunther looked at each other for long minutes. The tension was thick in the air, but where Jorik expected violence, he felt a completely different emotion. "Can I bring my family back by killing you?" Jorik asked slowly. "No," Gunther said honestly. "Will my pain disappear?" "No, it will probably make it worse." Jorik dropped his knife to the ground. "Then what's the point?" Gunther was shocked by this unexpected turn. Are you forgiving me?" "I don't know," Jorik said truthfully. "But I know that killing is wrong, and I don't want to be the wrong person." Ragnar approached at that moment, having heard their conversation. "Jorik," Ragnar said, deep regret in his voice. I'm so sorry, too. That day was our biggest mistake." "Why did you do it?" Jorik asked. "Fear," Ragnar said. "Confusion. War makes people crazy, but that's no excuse. We did a terrible thing." Jorik listened to them. These people weren't monsters. They were humans who had made mistakes, living with guilt every day. "I came here for revenge," Jorik said. But during my journey I learned different things. I learned what real family means, and that revenge only brings more pain." Gunther's little daughter came outside at that moment. "Daddy, who is this?" she asked innocently. This is an old friend," Gunther said carefully. The little girl smiled at Jorik. This smile was exactly like his sister Nellie's smile. At this moment, Jorik made his final decision. "I forgive you," he said clearly. "Not because you deserve it, but because I want to be a better person." Gunther and Ragnar, with tears in their eyes, were speechless. "Thank you," Gunther said. This is an unexpected gift." But there's one condition, Yorick continued. I want you to help other families, other children, make up for what happened. Anything, Ragnar said immediately. Tell us what to do. Yorick thought about all the communities he had visited, all the people he had helped, all the kindness he had received. Start helping people around you. Be better fathers, better husbands, better community members. Make sure no other child becomes an orphan because of violence. They agreed immediately. That evening, Yorick stayed in Siku village, but not for revenge. He was planning his return journey, but this time with a different purpose. He now understood that real healing wasn't in revenge, but in service. Real family wasn't in blood, but in love and care. The next morning, before departure, an unexpected visitor came, Luna and little Ivy from the settlement. "Yorick," Ivy shouted, running to hug him. "We looked everywhere for you," Luna said. "You're our family. Please come with us." Yorick, his heart full of joy, looked at these people who had traveled a long distance just to find him. "Yes," he said, smiling. "I'm coming home." This journey began for revenge, but ended with forgiveness. It started with hatred, but ended with love. Yorick learned that sometimes what we're looking for isn't what we need. He searched for killers but found real family. And the most important lesson, real strength isn't in taking revenge, but in forgiving. Real family isn't in blood relations, but in unconditional love and acceptance. This story teaches us this. Hatred only creates more hatred, but love and forgiveness bring healing and growth. Real family is a choice, not biology. And sometimes who we find during the journey is more important than where we're going. Dear viewers, have you experienced moments in your life where you witnessed the power of forgiveness? Share your thoughts in the comments, along with the lessons you draw from this transformative story. If you liked this powerful story, don't forget to hit the like button. By subscribing to our channel, you can discover more emotional and transformative stories from the depths of Inuit culture. In our next video, we'll meet again with another journey full of powerful lessons. Until then, trust in the healing power of forgiveness.